Hello, I'm Doug Roberts with Altruis, and I'm one of the ERP practice directors. And I'm excited today to introduce Global Payments, our go-to partner for payment automation. If you don't know Global Payments, they're a large publicly traded company with integration to really almost all of the ERP systems out there, but certainly the ones that we support, Microsoft, NetSuite, and Intact. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to the team from Global Pay, and we're going to get a little walkthrough and get to see it in action.
Thanks, Doug. I'll start the discussion, and then I'll hand it over to my colleague McKenna, who's going to actually walk us through the application. I'll just share a couple of things introductory-wise to just introduce the concepts, and then McKenna's going to show you the live application. So, as the invitation said when it came out to you, we're going to explore some of the challenges that people face with respect to collecting on outstanding receivables and making sure you've got a secure process within your organization. So some of the challenges that a lot of the customers that we deal with are facing is it's a very labor-intensive task. It takes a lot of time to reach out to customers. Well, first of all, you probably run your age receivables report and categorize everybody as to how late they are or current they are and that kind of thing. Schedule your follow-up calls, get in touch with the customer, collect payment information, go through some probably manual or semi-automated process to collect those payments through credit card or ACH or however you do that, and then get those posted into your respective ERP systems. Well, as you can imagine, it takes a lot of time and effort to do all of that. And so with the appropriate systems, you can really short circuit a lot of that, put some of that burden, I guess, into the hands of your customers, make it easy for them to pay you, and thereby getting paid faster. A lot of the challenges that people are facing, obviously, when it takes so much time to collect, it takes you a long time to get that money into the business, putting it back to work for you. So that's one problem. Another problem is security, something referred to as PCI compliance. That's something that payment processors like us deal with. We make sure that we have the highest levels of security so that these cards that your customers are giving you can never be compromised. I know a lot of folks go through this process of jotting down credit card numbers on sticky notes or on your notepad or what have you, very insecure, and does kind of expose you to some possible risk there should those cards ever be compromised. So what we advocate to our customers is to upgrade that process, to integrate it and to automate it in those two ways. And that way, it saves you a ton of time, and it actually creates great security and reduces human error when you're going through that whole payment process. So a lot of the top benefits here, and we talked about some of these a moment ago, you get paid faster. So when you make it easier for your customers to pay you, they tend to pay you much faster. That means you get that money into your organization that much quicker, and that means that you can make more informed and quicker decisions about what to do with that money and how to drive your business forward. And we talked about this, reduce that manual labor. You can minimize the amount of work it takes you to collect these payments from your customers, and that can have a significant impact on that time. And now you can reallocate that time to other tasks within the organization that may actually be revenue generating. So you kind of get that knock-on effect of not only saving time, but now applying your extra time to something that actually creates more revenue for you. So a lot of the key features that you should look for when you're looking for an integrated system is you need to be able to take both credit cards and called e-check or ACH processing. It's ideal if your customers can choose to store their encrypted card tokens or ACH tokens within the system. That way they don't have to enter those card details every time. And a nice benefit of our system is once they store them, you can actually store them within your ERP as well so that your staff can use them to process payments directly within the ERP. We do present customer self-serve options, which means your customers have the ability to go online and make these payments or check their account information when it's convenient for them. They don't have to speak to somebody within your organization to make this happen. They do it on their own time. You don't have to be open. We're connected, full time to your system so that they can make a payment at midnight. It's going to end up in your accounting system. And it's also the money's going to end up in your bank account. And you didn't really have to do anything to make that happen. As Doug mentioned, we are a company of Global Payments, or a global payments company. They are a New York Stock Exchange traded company. Probably, if we're not the biggest payment processor in the world, it's pretty darn close. So that being the case, that puts us in a great position to offer you the best rates possible out there. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we'll probably provide you with a better rate than you're getting from your current processor. And we mentioned the integration. So it's the automation and it's the integration that eliminates that human error, minimizes your workload, and gets you paid faster. Now, I'm going to talk about Sage Intacct, but Doug mentioned we do integrate to most of the larger ERPs in the Sage world, on the Microsoft Dynamics platforms. Acumatica is another one. Oracle is another one. So we do have several integrations out there, and we're embedded. So our payment processing software is called PayFabric, and the customer-facing portion is called PayFabric Receivables. That's the customer portal element of it. And we're embedded right into the ERP. So you can process authorizations and payments directly in the ERP. In Sage Intacct, you're looking at these different modules within the application that we have our own screens in. And I think McKenna's going to show you that directly, as well as the PayFabric Receivables part of that. Excuse me. So again, here's on the sales order screen in Intacct, you can take an authorization, you can capture funds from a previous authorization, or you can take a direct sale transaction. If you're working in the accounts receivable module, which we do, oftentimes you'll just take a direct capture of those funds right away. So that means we're taking the authorization and the capture all in one step. We do offer this two-way integration between your system. I'm calling out Sage here, but it works the same way with the other ERPs, so that when a transaction gets done within our customer portal-facing side of things, it ends up automatically reconciled within the ERP, and the money ends up in your bank account, and that works the other way as well. Any stuff that gets processed within the ERP becomes available to the customer-facing side of things so that they can see the same thing that you see. So everybody's working from the same version of that data. You know, it's not going to be a different data set that we're working with here. It's always going to be up to date. So North 49, we're a global payments company. There's other sister companies. Notice is one that works on the Microsoft side of things. And I think where McKenna came up through, I came up through the Sage side of things. So, but again, from a PayFabric standpoint, the products are very similar. The functionality is going to be very similar between the different applications. PayFabric is the common thread. The ERP is what differs on the back end. So that's the only change there. We've been in the Sage world for, well, longer than I care to remember. And I think I've been working about this long as well in the Sage world. And I think McKenna's got a fairly lengthy tenure in the Microsoft space as well. And Global Payments has been a company around for a long time, growing by acquisition, as is evident by our two companies being a part of them now. I'll stop talking. I'll let McKenna take over and actually show you the application. And then I think we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. Then you can feel free to enter them in the Q&A chat, or in the chat, sorry. And then we can maybe attempt to answer those questions as we go through the presentation. So McKenna, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you show them the real stuff.
Thank you so much, Peter. Okay, so today I'm going to be going over our solution for Business Central. So as Peter has mentioned, we work with many ERPs. Business Central is one of them. So as I'm showing you pieces inside of Business Central, just remember that you're going to be able to do these same things in Sage, Acumatica, NetSuite, all of those other ERPs. So inside of Business Central, you're going to be able to process your payments. We also have secure cloud storage within the ERP that you're going to be able to store your customer payment methods on file. So inside of Business Central, I'm going to first start off in our cash receipt journal, just to demonstrate how integrated our software is going to be. So I'll go ahead and create my cash receipt line. Enter in my amount here. And now we see up in the ribbon, we have PayFabric available. So PayFabric, once we select that option, it's going to give us that sale From here, right inside the ERP, you can process your transaction. So this transaction page, it gives a few options. First, you're going to be able to choose your payment method. We support e-checks, ACH, as well as credit cards. We even support the ability to surcharge. Surcharge is going to be adding a small fee to the customer's transaction. This fee will help recuperate some of those payment processing fees. So once you implement that fee, the system will recognize when a credit card is going to be used, and it will automatically apply that surcharge. Next, we have the option to use a new credit card. So your team will be able to enter in a card here on the fly. They can even save that card for later use. Once that card is saved, it's going to be saved up in our PayFabric cloud. None of that sensitive payment data will be touching your environment. It will all be up in the secure cloud. Next, you're going to be able to see that you can see the customer's payment methods on file. So these payment methods stored up in our cloud, you can only see the last 4 digits of these payment methods. Now, we have our email that it's going to go to. You can edit this if you need to change the recipient. And from there, we can go ahead and process the payment. And we'll see it's been approved. Another feature that we support is going to be sending out payment links to your customers. So a payment link is going to be a link that the customer can click on, enter in their own card information, and process the payment. That pay link will be integrated back into your ERP and applied to the correct order or invoice. So I have my order created here. Again, we see PayFabric is available in our ribbon. We can select PayFabric. Again, we have a few options. We can create a sale. That's going to be just taking the funds from the customer's account. We can do a pre-authorization. That is going to put a hold on the customer's card. Doing a pre-authorization would be used in the use case where you pre-authorize and then capture at a later date, usually upon shipping the item. Or we have the option to do our payment link. So here it's going to populate the amount. If you need to take a partial payment, maybe a down payment, you could do that from here. It's going to be sending it to the customer's email address from their customer card, as well as their cell phone number. They can even get it through text message. Again, you can choose your transaction type. You can do a sale or that authorization, and choose if you want to accept credit cards or e-checks. So we see the pay link's been sent successfully. Now on the bottom right-hand side of our order, we have our pay link amount. That's going to be our outstanding amount that the customer will be paying. Now the customer will receive their email. This is going to be an example of an email that your customer would receive. It's going to be coming from an email address of your choice. You could also go ahead and edit the wording of the email however you'd like. It will also include that link for the customer to click on. Once the customer clicks on their link, they'll be able to make their payment and it will integrate back into the ERP. Another option when collecting payment is going to be just by posting your invoice and the customer can log into the portal. So go ahead and post an invoice. All right. Now, upon posting an invoice, the customer will automatically receive an email letting them know that they have their new invoice to pay. So here is an example of that email they can receive. Of course, your logo would be shown up top. It's going to be coming from an email address of your choice. The customer can view the PDF version of their invoice. And the customer will be given two options. The first is to pay now, and the second is to log into the customer portal. When the customer selects the login option, they'll be brought over to a login page where they can enter in their username and password and log into the portal. We do have a couple self-service options, a forgot username or forgot password. They can even create an account by using their customer ID. From here, once the customer logs in, they will land on a summary of their account where they can then view their outstanding invoices. From here, they can view the document details of each invoice and select one or multiple invoices to pay. You could even make it available to your customers to make partial payments. Now, when the customer is ready to make their payment, they will be brought over to another payment page where they can apply their credit balance. This will be pulling their credits directly from Business Central. They can even make a prepayment. That's just going to be an unapplied amount going back to their account in Business Central. And they can also see their payment methods that they have on file. So these payment methods are going to be seen across the board. They can be seen in Business Central. We have an internal facing portal that they can see that as well as the customer can see it on their side. And if they were to go ahead and save a new payment method on file, that will be saved across the board in PayFabric. And we support our credit cards, and we see this customer also has an e-check on file, so they can use an e-check as well. And from there, the customer can process their transaction. Once the customer processes their transaction, they will see a payment confirmation on the screen and also be emailed a receipt. You can also BCC an email address where your team can receive those payment confirmations as they come in. Now we see this payment ID has been created, PS ending in 693. So that's going to be our identifier back in the ERP to show that that invoice has been paid. So if we go back to Business Central to our cash receipt journal, okay, our system runs on 60-second synchronizers, so it can take up to 60 seconds for those records to come back into your ERP. We'll go ahead and give it a little more time. Here we go. So we have our payment, PS ending in 693, paid with our Visa for our $500, and it's been applied here to the correct invoice. So essentially your process would look like this. You would post your invoices. Those invoices would be automatically sent to your customer via email, and they will have a link to click on and pay now, or they can log into the portal. Once they make their payment, this record will automatically flow back into your ERP and apply to the correct invoice. Now back inside of the customer payment portal, we have a few options. One of the options that your customers can take part in is going to be auto pay. So this is going to be great for any subscription or recurring payments that you have. These are 3 different templates that we've set up for our demo environment, but you would be able to create your own templates depending on your business process. So for this template, pay outstanding balance on a monthly basis. Payments are processed on the 1st of each month. So now, once the customer goes ahead and activates that auto pay, all of their outstanding invoices would be automatically paid and applied back in your ERP. We also have our prepayment option. This is going to be a way for them to make a payment, and that's going to be an unapplied payment going back to their account in their ERP. Your customer can also view their history. So this is going to display all their invoices, credits, returns, anything that they might need to know when it comes to their account, and they can even filter through if they're looking for anything specific. The customer can also manage their wallet. So this is going to be their wallet stored on file in PayFabric. They can edit, add, or delete any payment methods. Even your customers, they can also have an unlimited amount of users. These users can be granted different access depending on their user login. So that is our customer payment portal. Please feel free to enter any questions in the chat if you have any additional use cases or requirements you would like me to speak about. Thank you.
All right, thanks, McKenna. Yeah, if anybody has questions, put them in the Q&A or in the chat, or otherwise you can reach out to us afterward. We'll provide some contact details, and we can speak specifically to your situation and what your requirements are. Just want to pop back onto my screen as well here and show you, we'll wrap up things here. So we've got a number of folks using our products at this point, and one of the ones that we use, or sorry, one of the customers that is using it is Carvajal Pharmacy. They've been a customer for quite some time, and they have found some significant improvements. They had a very manual process of paper statements, paper invoices, receiving paper checks, lots of incoming phone calls with people querying. So these guys provide the pharmaceuticals in a long-term care facility, so typically elderly folks or folks like that. And so needless to say, a lot of these elderly folks have lots of queries. They still like to do things in a paper base, but they gradually got their family members to move into this more automated system where it's all online, because typically it's their family members, their children, or somebody that's taking care of their bills for them. So it was great for them to have this access, have multiple family members able to access that particular resident's account and make those payments on their behalf. So when they implemented our solution, they saved a tremendous amount of time. I mean, they said a minimum of one full-time equivalent staff member. And it's not that they got rid of that staff member. They were able to then, as I mentioned earlier, apply those skills and that time to doing other things that further advance the business. So they saw a significant return on investment. I think within the first month, halfway through the first month, they had paid for that investment in that solution. So, from that perspective, it's a great solution that's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. It's going to get money into the system a lot faster than you're doing now if you're relying on some manual process to do so. I mentioned contact information. Here's the Ultras contact information. Here's my contact information, and we can certainly put you in touch with the right folks on our side to speak about your specific requirements and the ERP that you're using. McKenna spoke about the Business Central side of things. Of course, we work inside of Sage Intacct, Sage 300, if anyone cares. That's more of the Sage legacy system. Intacct being the far more modern cloud-based solution that things seem to be moving more toward. So I will leave that up there for a minute, but does anybody have any questions for us before we sort of wrap things up here? And again, if you'd prefer to speak to us one-on-one, take note of the contact information here. We can have a personalized conversation and presentation of the specific solution that works to the ERP that you're using. I don't see anything popping up on the Q&A or the chat, so perhaps I'll turn it back to Doug and we can wrap things up here.
All right, thanks for that. It was great walkthrough of the products that are available, and we really appreciate you taking us through that, and look forward to working with you on some implementations in the future.
As we thank you, Doug. Appreciate you having us here.
Thank you so much.